everybody. I don't know why I did that, but it's fine. Coming to you live from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, where it is super cold and rainy and just not the welcoming party that we had in mind for today. But awesome stuff to be up here again this year, and came up here to learn a little bit from our friends at Smith Built Hats on some hat manufacturing and kind of how they do some of their private events. We do a pretty good chunk of those, and we continue to get strong with those. So it's almost like a best practice sharing situation. And so we're gonna spend some time up here getting to know them and the business, and kind of learning from them. So it leads me to this week's topic, as I kind of jot things down to things to talk about. And I really want to talk about development. So it's not just our business's development as much as it is the people that are involved with the business. And that's not just our employees, but also our brand ambassadors, and how vital, I guess, that is to our success. And it hasn't been by accident. I look for some pretty specific things with brand ambassadors, but I think that for the most part, I'm pretty consistent on what I want out of people. And the same goes for our employees. Sorry, I had to adjust something there. It was starting to flicker at me and stuff. And so momentum of the business is always top of mind, but finding the right people that are going to carry that is equally as important. So, when it comes to the employee front, people that I know that have been really successful and their businesses have taken off, for the most part, kind of share different worded versions of the same ethos. And that's find employees that act like owners, and an owner that acts like an employee. And I think I've done a good job on my end of, putting in the time and being out there in the trenches and showing everybody that I can work just as hard as anybody. And that's been good. I mean, we've gone through a few different iterations of our roster. We had Kaylee come on board a year ago. I think it was July last year was her first event. And Kaylee's been a great grounding source of knowledge for us. And she works really hard. She, her and her husband I get along with really well, and I met them through the Ranch Horse Association. And I think that what really positions her well to work with me is the fact that she has to work with her husband day in and day out, because Justin's equally as cantankerous, and she knows how to ground us pretty well. And so she's a great voice of reason to have around. And then Zach I met in September last year, and Zach continues, I like Zach a lot just because he's really well grounded and more the quiet type. I think I'm loud enough for everybody, but he's coming out of his shell now that he's a little more comfortable. And so there's two employees right there that when they came on board, it was more attitude, and we'll teach them aptitude, and asking the right questions and really being interested in the business. And Zach has definitely done a good job of trying to pick things up from a shaping standpoint. Just he really wants to learn that stuff. And Kaylee has done the same. Kaylee had done a hat a couple weeks ago that I got to see after it was done, and I was like, wow, she's really come a long way. So it's important to develop from inside, and that's why where the farm system comes in. Find the right people with the right skills, and you can teach them how to run the play. But every once in a while, you need to have people that are also more than apt to come into your organization, that were maybe from a sports analogy type of standpoint, they were somebody else's farm system, and they're putting up solid numbers, and they deserve to be on a bigger stage. And so that's the free agent, right? So I'm up here this week with Danny, and he works down in Springfield, Missouri for another company. And it's just the exposure for him to come to Canada and learn more about how to shape hats and how to make hats. And he's gonna help us occasionally, and he brings a wealth of knowledge. And we spent some time in the shop last night doing some stuff, and it's just comparing and contrasting what he does, where he's strong, where I'm weak, and vice versa. I don't know if he really learned anything from me, but um, I watched him do stuff, a little bit different for me. And the thing with hat shaping is it's like a salad bar. You walk down the bar and you pick and choose what works for your plate and if you're gonna enjoy it. And there's some little things that he did that I thought, oh, that's a good idea. And so, the takeaway is like sometimes you got to find talent that you can't grow. And not to bury the lead here, but that also goes for our brand ambassadors. We have a really strong group of people that I think align really well with who we want to be as a brand up to this point. And we started applications, this year we did like an application window because we just can't help everybody that comes up and asks mid-season. So, we just kind of told them to keep an eye on our social media, and we'll do it again this year. Like late November, we'll put out like a call for brand ambassadors and, open up a window for applications and then choose. We usually try to choose by the last night of NFR in December. So if you're watching this and you're interested, then know kind of the window. But that all being said, like, I kind of keep my eyes out there for like, bigger, better, badder ones that others on our team can learn from. And so we had, again, built up a really good farm system of smaller regional rodeo athletes and state level showmen. And that light went off and actually looks a lot better. So weird. And just recently I got to have conversations with somebody that's, in my book, like a big free agent, somebody that was much larger than what we were thinking that would be ready to be a part of Diamond G, because we're still pretty young, but that doesn't mean we won't try. Shoot your shot, right? So, I mean, same sort of thing when Maggie Williams came on board. Like, Maggie is a tremendous ambassador and fan of our brand, and we couldn't ask for better. And, just a good Christian woman that is also, like, out there in the public eye. And so, same sort of thing. Alyssa Spearings from Jasper, Missouri. She's the three-time women's ranch bronc world champion. And we just kind of had some conversations the last couple of weeks, and if it's not out by now, it soon will be. Like, so Alyssa has signed an agreement to come on board as a brand ambassador, and that's super exciting for our brand, super exciting for the other people on our team, because we lacked like that senior leadership of how to get to the next level. And so I'm especially excited for like Kylie Foster, who, is our ranch bronc rider from the Midwest here that is kind of up and coming, who's out right now. So she blew her ACL and has to have surgery. But next year, I'm so excited to see, if we can buddy them up and kind of, a mentor situation. Kylie's got the attitude, right? And she can learn the aptitude. She just needs the right teacher. I can't teach her how to ranch bronc, but I can teach people how to shape hats. So it's super exciting. I'm so thankful for Alyssa, like, believing in what we're trying to do as a company and the brands we represent, and be willing to come on board. So again, it's like this delicate balance. You got to field a team. You want to put the strongest championship team out there together. You can put a lot of farm system, homegrown people out there, but sooner or later, you're going to have to find a free agent that can close the game and be the all-star and kind of raise the morale and the knowledge of the locker room. And I think we're doing a really good job of that. So, anybody else that's out there, entrepreneurs, like, I mean, I do that consistently. If I don't know how to fix something or how to take that next step with our business, like, I leverage my network. I find the people that do, and we get that knowledge and we come back stronger. And I know we're not the little guy, we're not the big guy, but if we keep holding true to this commitment, we'll just keep growing. And one day somebody will look at us and say, pretty big guy. So I think, that kind of sums it up. I appreciate everybody watching. Next week we'll kind of have a recap of everything that's going on around here. And take care.